Ocean Park is kind of like the original Venice Beach before Venice Beach even existed. It's one of the oldest neighborhoods in Los Angeles, and at one point, it had an amusement park that competed with Disneyland, but then it burned down to the ground several times. But yes, today we're going to talk about the neighborhood of Ocean Park in Santa Monica. We'll talk a little bit of history, prices, why the heck are people moving here, some of my favorite pockets, and like a bunch of other fun stuff. And first, a little bit of history. Some of the first major developments in Ocean Park started around the 1890s when some guy named Abbot Kinney bought some land here and started the Ocean Park Development Company, which triggered several piers, roller coasters, indoor pools, and a bunch of other vacation stuff. But after some disagreements with his partners, Abbot Kinney was pretty much like, yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna go ahead and start my own thing. So around 1905, he started what we now know as Venice Beach. So yes, for this reason, to this day, Venice Beach and Ocean Park kind of have like a similar look and feel. Now, another big moment in Ocean Park history came in 1958 when the pier that was near today's Pier Avenue evolved into like this monstrosity of an amusement park called Pacific Ocean Park. And for a brief moment in history, it had more visitors than Disneyland. But then it went bankrupt and then it caught on fire. And then in the 1970s, in its dilapidated state, the pier became a popular surf spot called the Cove. Now, in the 1970s, Ocean Park was kind of, it was a sketchy area with artists, surfers, and gangsters coexisting in chaotic harmony. And it was in this environment that the famous Dogtown Z Boys pretty much gave birth to modern day skateboarding. So if you've ever seen the movie Lords of Dogtown, that was mostly based in Ocean Park. And the original surf shop that was responsible for the Dogtown Z Boys is now a city landmark and a coffee shop. It's on the corner of Bay and Main Street and is appropriately called Dogtown Coffee. So why the heck are people moving to Ocean Park? Well, I can tell you why I moved here. One, yes, of course, the beach, but also this is the most accessible beach in Santa Monica. I mean, once you go north in Santa Monica, you have to cross like 100-foot cliff to get to the beach. Also, compared to downtown Santa Monica, Ocean Park is more of like a locals beach. I mean, you don't really have the big hotels that you're typically gonna find in the northern part of Santa Monica. Also, compared to many beaches in California, Ocean Park kind of has like this humble, small town feel. I mean, it's not pretentious in a money way, but it's also not pretentious in a hipster way, like that one guy who's like broke, unemployed, quasi-homeless, but still pretentious because he dresses like a lumberjack. So yeah, no one really cares what you drive here unless it's a skateboard, bike, or running shoes. And compared to Venice Beach, Ocean Park is kind of like the smaller, cleaner, less dramatic twin sister of Venice Beach. But now let's talk real estate. Now, the median price for a single family house in Ocean Park is around $2.4 million, which is pretty comparable to Venice Beach, more expensive than Playa del Rey, and less expensive than Marina del Rey. Now, the median price for a condo is about $1.5 million, and keep in mind that some condos in Santa Monica can be subject to rent control. So before you buy a condo with a tenant with plans of kicking them out, you may have to live with that tenant. And by the way, my name is Daniel RANGEL, real estate agent on the west side of Los Angeles. If I can be of any help, it would be an honor. And to contact me for a free consultation on buying or selling, you can find my information in the description below. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit like or subscribe. But also worth noting, about 75% of sales in Ocean Park are condos, so you don't really have like a huge inventory of single family homes. And because in the 1960s, a bunch of single family houses were knocked down and replaced with like these massive box apartments, it's kind of easy to drive through Ocean Park and be like, what? This is just like a bunch of ugly box apartments. But once you know what you're looking for, you'll notice there's a bunch of very interesting and historical little gems scattered throughout Ocean Park. For example, here's a building from 1875 that looks like a church. I mean, it is a church. I mean, it was a church, but now it's actually a 2,500 square foot single family house. It was originally one of the oldest Methodist churches in Santa Monica. Then in the 1970s, an artist named Helen Sheets bought it and turned it into a house. Helen, you are definitely cool. Also, here's one of the few walk streets in Santa Monica. It's gated and it's lined up with 13 courtyard-style bungalows from the early 1900s. Now, my guess is at some point they were originally maybe vacation rentals, but now they're designated a city landmark and set up as condos that you can buy for about $1.5 million in technically a gated community on one of the few walk streets in Santa Monica. Then there's this apartment building that looks like this deformed castle, and it's actually known as Baron's Castle, and it was originally built as like this massive villa for like some rich dude in the early 1900s. But anyway, now let's talk about the different pockets in Ocean Park. One, there's Main Street. This is where you're gonna find your walkability with about a mile of boutique shops, bars, restaurants, gyms, coffee shops, tattoo shops, and a bunch of other fun stuff. Also, several times throughout the year, they close up Main Street for special events like the Day of the Dog Festival or the annual 4th of July parade, which really helps give Ocean Park a nice community feel. Also, the parklets that were left behind from the COVID era have been a nice addition to the neighborhood. And actually, leading up to COVID, I feel like Main Street was kind of dying out a bit, but now I've noticed a recent revival with a lot of popular restaurants and new shops moving into the area. So Main Street could start becoming one of the hottest streets in Los Angeles. Neighborhood number 2, South Beach on the northwestern side of Ocean Park. I mean, if you gave me $4.5 million to buy a house anywhere in Los Angeles, actually, if you just gave me $4.5 million in general, I would spend it here. One, the history. This is one of the highest concentrations of some of the oldest beach houses in Santa Monica. I mean, check this out. This house still has an iron ring from the horse and buggy days. And actually, some of these houses, because they were built before cars, at one point had to be lifted and a garage put underneath the house to create parking. But I also think this is one of the best and most convenient places to own a beach house in Los Angeles. I mean, cross the street in one direction and you got like this really nice patch of grass, which is pretty much like your front yard. Keep going and you got Perry's Cafe and a bike path that really just goes on forever. Keep going and you got a massive beach. One, yes, for sitting, but also a lot of beach houses in California are struggling with coastal erosion, which means beach houses are pretty much becoming ocean houses. So in a way, all this massive amount of sand also serves as a buffer to protect your house or investment. But anyway, cross the street in the opposite direction and you're on Main Street for breakfast, lunch, dinner, nightlife, gym, and just a bunch of other fun stuff. And all of this without the chaos of downtown Santa Monica, the tiny beaches of Malibu, the carnival that is Venice Beach, and without the boring suburbs of the South Bay. But once in a while, you will get some junkies and homeless people to like spice things up. Now, another cool little pocket is the 3rd Street Historic District, which is also Santa Monica's first historic district, and it's made up of about 38 of some of the oldest houses in Ocean Park and in Santa Monica in general. And here's the oldest house in the 3rd Street District, which kind of, yeah, that makes total sense. Now, the range of construction here is from the late 1800s to the 1920s, and interestingly, during that period, there was like no consistent pattern in construction. I mean, you can go from a nice, stately Victorian house to a tiny 1-bedroom bungalow right next to each other. But this trend of like no trend has persisted in Ocean Park history. I mean, to this day, you can have like this huge modern masterpiece next to a tiny shotgun-style house, next to a church, next to a convenience store. But anyway, yes, if you want to buy a house by the beach that is not totally saturated with tourists in one of the, actually the most accessible beach in Santa Monica, with a history of rebels, but also a culture of humility and some of the best walkability, then definitely check out Ocean Park. And by the way, my name is Daniel RANGEL, real estate agent on the west side of Los Angeles. If I can be of any help, it would be an honor. And to contact me for a free consultation on buying or selling you can find my information in the description below. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit like or subscribe. But either way, thanks a bunch for watching and have an awesome day.